The Bible is full of incredible stories about people who changed the course of history. Some of these stories are inspiring, while others are shocking. Today, we're going to talk about 5 women in the Bible who made a huge impact on the world, but not in the ways we might expect. These women were ruthless, powerful, and sometimes manipulative, using their influence and cunning to shape the events around them. While most of the Bible focuses on the heroes, men like Moses, David, and Jesus, there are also women whose actions played a key role in changing everything. These women were not always the ones you'd think of as role models. In fact, they often used their intelligence, charm, and power to get what they wanted, even if it meant hurting others along the way. Some of these women took control of situations, while others took advantage of those around them to achieve their goals. In this video, we're going to dive into the lives of 5 of these women. From a queen who ordered the death of an innocent man to a woman who betrayed the strongest man alive, these stories are filled with drama, power struggles, and unexpected twists. Some of these women were driven by personal gain, while others were motivated by revenge or survival. But no matter their reasons, each one left a lasting mark on history. As we explore their stories, we'll look at how their actions not only affected their own lives, but also the lives of those around them. Whether they were rulers, seductresses, or ruthless manipulators, these women were powerful forces in their time. Their choices and decisions changed the course of history and left behind legacies that are still discussed today. So, join me as we take a closer look at the lives of these 5 ruthless women in the Bible and find out how their actions forever altered the world around them. From betrayal to power grabs, their stories are filled with lessons and warnings that still resonate today. 1. Jezebel. Jezebel was a queen in the Bible, married to King Ahab of Israel. She was originally from the kingdom of Sidon, and her marriage to Ahab was meant to strengthen the relationship between Israel and Sidon. However, Jezebel was much more than just a royal wife. She was known for her power, ruthlessness, and deceit. She didn't just stand by her husband. She often took charge, manipulating events to get what she wanted. One of the most famous stories about Jezebel shows just how far she would go to achieve her goals. There was a man named Naboth who owned a vineyard near the palace. King Ahab wanted that vineyard because it was close to his home, and he offered to buy it from Naboth. But Naboth refused, saying the land had been passed down to him from his ancestors, and he could not sell it. Ahab was upset, and when Jezebel heard about it, she took matters into her own hands. Jezebel hatched a plan to get Naboth's vineyard. She arranged for false charges to be brought against him, accusing him of blasphemy and treason. These charges were completely false, but Jezebel didn't care. She used her power to make sure Naboth was convicted, and he was executed for crimes he didn't commit. After Naboth's death, Jezebel handed over the vineyard to her husband, Ahab. This was just one example of how Jezebel used deceit and manipulation to get what she wanted, no matter who it hurt. Jezebel's actions didn't go without consequences. Her manipulation and cruelty created many enemies, especially among the prophets of Israel. The prophet Elijah, for example, confronted her for her evil deeds, and God promised that Jezebel's actions would lead to her downfall. Eventually, Jezebel was overthrown. She was thrown out of a window by her own servants, and her body was trampled by horses. Her death marked the end of her wicked reign, and the fulfillment of the prophecy against her. Jezebel's legacy is one of manipulation, cruelty, and power. Her story serves as a warning in the Bible about the dangers of using deceit and force to get what you want. Even though she was a queen, her tragic end showed that no one, no matter how powerful, can escape the consequences of their actions forever. 2. Delilah. Delilah is one of the most well-known women in the Bible, not because of her strength or virtue, but because of the betrayal she committed against Samson, a mighty judge of Israel. Samson was known for his incredible strength, which he got from God. He was chosen to be a leader and protector of Israel, and he was a man of great power. However, Samson's strength was tied to a secret. His long hair, which had never been cut, was the source of his power. As long as his hair remained uncut, he could defeat his enemies. Delilah came into Samson's life when he fell in love with her. She was a woman from the Philistine city of Sorek, and the Philistines were Israel's enemies at the time. The Philistine leaders saw that Samson's strength was a threat to them, so they offered Delilah a large sum of money if she could discover the secret of his power. Delilah agreed, even though it meant betraying Samson. At first, Samson didn't tell Delilah the truth about his strength. She repeatedly asked him to reveal the secret, but each time he gave her false answers. Delilah became frustrated and began to pressure him. She said things like, "You don't love me if you won't tell me the truth." Eventually, Samson gave in and told her that the secret to his strength was his uncut hair. He explained that if his hair were cut, he would lose his strength and become as weak as any other man. Once Delilah knew his secret, she wasted no time in betraying him. She had a servant cut Samson's hair while he was asleep, and then she called the Philistines to capture him. Samson's strength was gone, and he was easily captured. The Philistines took him, blinded him, and imprisoned him. His fall from power was a great tragedy, as Samson had once been Israel's greatest hero. Delilah's actions not only led to the downfall of Samson, but they also made Israel more vulnerable. Samson had been a protector of Israel, and without him, the Israelites were weaker against their enemies. While Samson was imprisoned, he eventually had a chance to regain his strength one last time. But Delilah's betrayal left a lasting impact on him and on the nation of Israel. Her greed and lack of loyalty caused great harm to Samson and his people. 3. Herodias. Herodias was a powerful and ruthless woman in the Bible, known for her role in the death of John the Baptist. She was married to Herod Antipas, the ruler of Galilee. Herodias was not his first wife, but she was very influential. Before marrying Herod Antipas, Herodias had been married to his brother, Herod Philip. However, she left him to marry Herod Antipas, which caused a great scandal. The marriage was seen as immoral by many, including John the Baptist. John the Baptist was a prophet who spoke out against this marriage, calling it unlawful. He boldly criticized Herod and Herodias for marrying each other when Herodias was still married to Herod's brother. Herodias did not like John's criticism, and she became very angry with him. However, Herod, even though he didn't agree with John's message, respected him as a holy man and protected him from her wrath. But Herodias was determined to silence John once and for all. Her opportunity came when Herod Antipas threw a grand banquet for his birthday. During the celebration, Herodias' daughter, Salome, danced for Herod and his guests. Her dance pleased Herod so much that he promised to give her anything she wanted, up to half of his kingdom. Salome, guided by her mother, asked for the head of John the Baptist on a platter. This request shocked Herod, but because he had made a public promise in front of his guests, he felt he had no choice but to fulfill it. Reluctantly, Herod ordered John the Baptist to be beheaded in prison. His head was brought to Salome on a platter, and it was given to Herodias. This gruesome act fulfilled Herodias' desire for revenge against John the Baptist, and it marked the tragic end of a great prophet. Herodias' ruthless actions did not go unnoticed. Her manipulation of her daughter and her control over Herod led to the death of an innocent man. Herodias' power grew within Herod's court, and her actions served as a reminder of the dangers of using manipulation and vengeance to achieve one's goals. The beheading of John the Baptist was a turning point, showing how far Herodias would go to get what she wanted, even if it meant shedding innocent blood. 4. Athalia. Athalia was one of the most ruthless women in the Bible and the only woman to ever rule Judah. She was the daughter of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, two of the most notorious figures in biblical history. Athalia's rise to power was marked by violence, betrayal, and a complete disregard for family. She became queen after the death of her son, King Ahaziah of Judah. When Ahaziah died, Athalia saw an opportunity to take control of the throne. Instead of letting her son's heirs inherit the throne, she decided to kill anyone who could stand in her way. This included her own grandchildren, who were the rightful heirs to the throne. She ordered the murder of all her grandsons, hoping to wipe out the royal line and secure her rule. However, one of her grandsons, Joash, was hidden by his aunt Jehosheba, who managed to keep him safe in the temple. While Athalia thought she had killed every possible heir, Joash survived, and he was secretly raised in the temple of the Lord for 6 years. During this time, Athalia ruled Judah with an iron fist, but her reign was filled with fear and suspicion. At the age of 7, Joash was brought out of hiding. The priest Jehoiada, who had been protecting Joash, declared him the rightful king of Judah. This sparked a rebellion against Athalia. When Athalia heard the news, she rushed to the palace, but it was too late. The people of Judah, who had long been oppressed by her cruel rule, seized her and threw her out of the palace. Athalia was then killed, and Joash was crowned as king. The death of Athalia marked the end of her reign of terror, and Joash's rise to the throne restored the Davidic line, the royal family that had been promised to reign forever. Joash's coronation was seen as the restoration of God's plan for Judah, and under his rule, the people of Judah turned back to God. Athalia's actions, though, left a lasting mark on the history of Judah. Her greed for power and her willingness to kill even her own family showed just how far she would go to maintain control. Her death, however, led to the restoration of rightful leadership in Judah, and Joash's reign became a symbol of hope for the people. 5. The Woman of the Apocalypse. In the book of Revelation, there is a powerful and dangerous figure known as the Woman of the Apocalypse. This woman is described in a vision given to the Apostle John. Though she is often interpreted symbolically, she represents the forces of evil and corruption that have always existed in the world. The Woman of the Apocalypse is a significant figure because she embodies the evil and wicked powers that oppose God and persecute the faithful. The woman is described as being dressed in purple and scarlet, wearing jewelry, and holding a golden cup filled with abominations and impurities. She rides a terrifying beast that has 7 heads and 10 horns. The beast is often understood to symbolize corrupt empires or world powers that persecute God's people. Together, the woman and the beast represent the dangerous combination of worldly power and corruption, which tries to oppose God's will and harm those who follow him. This woman is often associated with the great city of Babylon, which in the Bible is a symbol of sinful and corrupt societies that turn away from God. She represents the evil influence of these empires throughout history, from ancient times to the end of the world. In the vision, she is drunk with the blood of the saints, which shows how these corrupt powers have persecuted and oppressed the followers of God. Despite her power and influence, the woman of the apocalypse is not victorious in the end. In Revelation, we are told that she will face a terrible downfall. The beast she rides will turn against her, and she will be destroyed in the final judgment. This marks the defeat of evil and the victory of God's righteous rule. Her destruction symbolizes the ultimate defeat of all corrupt and wicked powers that seek to harm God's people. The woman of the apocalypse is a powerful image of the evils of worldly power and the suffering that God's people may face in a world filled with corruption. However, her eventual downfall serves as a message of hope. It shows that no matter how powerful evil may seem, it will ultimately be defeated by God's justice in the end. The vision of her destruction reminds believers that God will bring justice and that the forces of evil will not prevail. In this video, we've looked at 5 ruthless women in the Bible who made a powerful impact on the world around them. From Jezebel, the queen of manipulation, to Delilah, who betrayed the strongest man alive. These women used their cunning and power to shape history. We also saw Herodias, whose thirst for revenge led to the death of John the Baptist, and Athalia, who went as far as murdering her own family to seize the throne. Finally, we explored the woman of the apocalypse, a symbolic figure representing the evil and corrupt powers that seek to oppose God and persecute his people. These women, despite their ruthless actions, were pivotal in shaping biblical history. Their stories may seem extreme, but they serve as reminders of the complex nature of power, influence, and the choices people make. While their actions were wrong, they played key roles in the unfolding of God's plan, demonstrating how even the most evil forces can be used to bring about divine justice and the ultimate victory of good over evil. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Who do you think was the most ruthless, and why? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let's get a conversation going. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. We've got more fascinating stories in this series, and our next video will dive into another powerful biblical figure. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.